Right. Izzy Tim's here. Um, Major marijuana smoker most of my life. The problem is in today's world, big pharma, and although they'll deny it, it's the bisexuals' way of getting their drugs free. They're creating more and more um, prison prostitution and basically drug trafficking into diddlers and rapists and murderers so that these people in prisons get free ride. Anyways, that aside, we'll get into that another day. Weed, if you're under pressure from the industries to, and particularly the mob, because the mob's the one pressuring everybody, and General Motors, of course, because they're invested in big pharma. Ass off. Go figure. Anyways, I'm Canadian, so marijuana is legal here. And one of the ways I've figured out to kind of curb pressure from outside influence is to chant. And one of the best chants I've found, it works great, is every fucking day grow kush and every fucking day go shush. This kind of reverse psychology to the reverse psychology medicine that they're practicing, which is you don't want it any louder, kind of goes with this shush, is revolutions per minute, right? RPMs, reverse psychology medicine. Because people are revolting against the heroin industry. We don't want to pay and have our medical society referred to as heroes because they put some crazy glue on a stitch. Yeah, okay, there's some doctors actually performing special surgeries and helping people out, but there's other doctors that are just sucking the fucking teat. And in Canada, they're growing basically institutions, babysitting clubs. There's a few of them. They hold 300 patients, not even 300 patients, but their operating costs a year are over 300 million. So a lot of the patients that are in these facilities are end of life patients. Some of the patients that are in these facilities have lost legs and they're going through rehabilitation and not able to really function as well on their own. Um, so they have these facilities for them, but they form people into the facilities so they can keep you indefinitely. And a lot of the people that are in these facilities don't want to be kept indefinitely. They're basically being forced into these facilities and kept indefinitely for life at $1 million or more per patient just in operating costs. And that doesn't even include the medicine. So you could actually hire 10 people to live with you for a year and help you out for less money than they're paying to keep these patients for a year. And all of the nurses that are in these facilities are sitting on their cell phones doing absolutely nothing but Facebook messaging every day. The people that are end of life and bedridden, they're laying in gurneys, laying in their beds, um, covered in feces because the nurses aren't washing them, bed sores all over them. They're getting sicker. They're dying faster than they would if they were actually in the public. And instead of making it easier on them, and like honestly, if this is what you're gonna do to them, just kill them, and then they won't have to suffer through all your bullshit, calling and screaming to the nurses to, hey, look, I'm covered in shit. Come on, can I get a fucking bath or get help to the washroom or whatever they need? they're not getting because the nurses aren't doing it for them. Fact. This is fact. I've seen it firsthand. I'm actually in one of those facilities right now. And the reason I'm in this facility, and I can show documented proof on this, I don't actually have it with me. I was going to bring it, but I'm doing another video about this. So I have literally documented proof saying because I don't take the medication, I won't take the medication, I refuse the medication, I refuse the medication, I refuse the medication. I'm stable, been stable the whole time I'm here. I've only had one outbreak since I've been in, that's 8 years ago. But they're keeping me here, trying to force me onto medication so that they can pad the Ontario Disability Support Program. They're locking patients in that are on ODSP, and the doctors even go to the point of asking you if you are on ODSP or welfare when you come into the facilities so that they can immediately start billing at enormous rates. The patients are getting paid 10 grand a year on ODSP, but the hospitals are billing ODSP more than $20,000 a year for the drugs. So the hospitals are billing 20 grand a year to force people onto heroin and force people into drug addictions and into psychosis and into hallucinations and delusions because they're forcing them into psychotropic medication, and admittedly, and most of it, not only is it non-curative, but it actually creates the delusions and hallucinations. So they're forcing people to become sick, and then by forcing them into the medication, they create the complication intentionally so that they have further business in the medical society. So myself, I'm a marijuana smoker. I haven't actually had it in 8 years, but in order to overcome and compensate for what society is trying to do to me so that they can profit off this medication, this is the education sector, right? Hey, do you see it, Sean? Anyways, in order to compensate, chanting, and you can chant in a whisper, and your whisper will actually be more effective than if you were to actually yell and scream. So the chant is every fucking day grow kush, and every fucking day go shush. And you know what? It kind of plays out to the mob at the same time. You're kind of getting a bonus. You're saying shush to yourself to basically tell these morons that you're not going to take your medication, but you're not going to wig out and freak out either. And at the same time, you're telling the Dago to shush.